Hey, and welcome to Her Holistic Home YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about something more holistic in nature. I know that the holistic community can be overwhelming, especially if you are just starting out and trying to figure out, how to live more naturally. Because right now in our world, just the world around us, it's so processed in America. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the Instagram posts or Facebook posts just showing even how everyday products here in America compared to products, the same products by the same companies over in Europe. On average, our products here have more chemicals, more ingredients, more artificials than the ones made by the same company right across the ocean. How can we avoid some of these chemicals in our everyday lives? How can we live healthier lives, but at the same time, not be completely overwhelmed with a 180-degree life change that uproots everything that we're used to doing? I'm here to kind of try to help navigate that and talk about what I believe are kind of the four main ways to kind of start living more holistically. Now, some of these things change over time, and what I kind of believe are the top four things, and somebody else may believe another top four are their top four, but these are the ones that I feel like make the biggest impact in our lives without maybe completely overwhelming us or our pocketbooks. Because let's be honest, living a crunchy life can be extremely expensive if you really go all in and you uproot every single thing in your life. It's almost financially impossible to do. So I've been living the holistic life for many, many years, and slowly but surely I've integrated new things. When I am done using one product, I get a different product. And honestly, I've gone to the extreme where every single thing had to be extremely crunchy, to the fact of like my laundry detergents were so holistic that to some extent they weren't working very well. It's a spectrum kind of on how holistic you're going to be and what fits necessarily with your lifestyle. So I say it this way. One, we want to, as Christians especially, live in a way that glorifies God in our bodies and glorifies God in what we're doing, and that convenience doesn't kind of override living healthily. Healthily, is that a word? I don't know. But at the same time, we don't also want to overwhelm ourselves so that we are so obsessed with it and we're living in fear, and we're fear motivated by being afraid of all the chemicals and things like that, that we literally can't live life. Or we're spending every single penny that we make on these holistic choices because we're literally afraid. And at the same time, also enjoying life to some extent. If I was to tell you, for example, if you ate grass every single day and only grass every day for every meal, you would live to be 100 and never get sick. Would you do it? I don't think I would, because honestly, it wouldn't be like living life. I wouldn't be getting enjoyment out of some of the things that God has given us on this planet to enjoy, like food. So the first thing, and the number one thing I feel like you need to get under control before you start digging into all the other things, is your food, what you are eating. I think that is the biggest thing. And I'm not going to tell you, go be vegan, go be gluten-free, go be keto, go be carnivore. I'm not going to tell you any of those things. I think they all have trends. I think some of them have really good benefits, especially in like the short term. I think if you are having some sort of, like they've shown that the ketogenic diet can help kids who have seizures and people with early Alzheimer's and things like that. And I think the vegan diet can be beneficial in some ways to detox. And I know people who do really well on the carnivore diet. I'm not necessarily talking about any of those diets. What I'm talking about doing is cleaning up what you are eating. That is going to benefit you in so many ways. And a lot of times when people go on these extreme diets, by nature, they clean up their diet, and half of the battle is that. So getting rid of extremely processed foods. And so this is going to mean, and again, that doesn't mean getting rid of convenience. So for example, I go to Costco and we get these little chicken sausages for our kids, but they're like chicken, water, and spices. And that's it. They're organic chicken, and they're really easy to just heat up and go, but they're not breaded. The breaded stuff a lot of times has sugar, soybean oil, all sorts of other things in it. And they're way less processed. Most of the ingredients, there's only like 3 or 4 ingredients in there. So we're eating something healthy. And again, If you're just in the beginning stage of your holistic journey, I'm not even talking about organic food at this point. I'm just talking about ridding yourselves of the really processed foods that you're eating. Hot dogs, for example. Hot dogs, super bad. Processed deli meats, things like that. And again, you can get organic deli meat and things that have less ingredients. But if you're not able to afford organic, and those things are very expensive to do organic, just cooking chicken, for example, and some vegetables or some potatoes or some sweet potatoes, those kind of things. Even if you're not gluten-free or paleo, doing some oatmeal in the morning that's not prepackaged oatmeal packets that have loads of sugar, but some oatmeal with some honey on top, something to that effect. Cooking up some eggs, these kind of things that are just more getting back to the way that food was kind of meant to be eaten. Like in our family, we do eat out sometimes. When we eat out, we do gluten-free because, to be honest, the only kind of gluten we really allow into our bodies here is sourdough, einkorn, bread, because the gluten is very hydrolyzed, it's broken down, and it doesn't have glyphosate. We're not going to do ever conventional gluten because the glyphosate is so damaging to the bacteria in our gut lining. I will say that, and there's some people who literally cannot do gluten ever. A lot of times it is a glyphosate allergy, or it is that their gut lining is so destroyed from years and years of bad eating that they can't tolerate it now, but maybe when they heal, they will be able to tolerate it. It just depends on the person. And a lot of people find they go over to Europe and they can eat gluten and they can eat dairy, that they can't eat those things here. And why is that? Because of the quality of our wheat, because of the pesticides that we spray, because of the dairy that is just, it's just garbage. But anyway, I would say when it comes to milk, trying to get organic milk would be really beneficial. I would try to stay away from milk if you are not going to get organic, just because there is a lot that can go into that milk product. But just staying away from, like, here's the big no's: artificial flavors, artificial colors, and artificial sweeteners. These are no-goes. These are nevers. These are not in moderation. These are never, 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 never. Don't ever eat these. These are so bad for you. They're bad for your brain. Artificial sweeteners are shown to be addicting, and like your body kind of wants them and will crave them more. And they can also be mood altering. Now, as a Christian, and a biblical counselor, I want to say this on the side: you are responsible for your emotions. You're responsible for your mood. So you can't just blame it on the artificial sweetener, but it's going to make it more difficult for you to control that. And I'll say, when I got off of diet soda, and years ago, I used to drink so much diet soda, I found that my mood was way more stable. Anyway, so that artificial colors, there's so much there. There's so much research about artificial colors, especially on children, and how it can alter so many things. And so many other countries have banned different colors, but we just allow them to be in our food products. And to be truthfully honest, it's not that hard to eliminate these things. Even with medicine, some medicines have dye in them. Avoid those. But a lot, you'll see, have dye-free options. Go for the dye-free option. Now, I know sometimes it's hard to avoid artificial sweeteners when it comes to certain medicines. That's even been difficult for us. I will say there is one brand that I really like that does produce clean medicines, but they have a very limited range, and that's Genexa. They have a Tylenol that's clean. They have a Benadryl that is clean, no dyes, no artificial sweeteners. So that is a brand to go to for some of those if you still want to use those products. But definitely nix those, and it's really not that hard. So food is that big one. Food is the big one. And when you have that one down, then move on. So the next layer to, after we're eating cleaner, we're ridding ourselves at the very minimum of those artificials, ridding ourselves of lots of sugar, ridding ourselves of processed foods. And when you rid yourself of processed foods, by the way, you're automatically going to eliminate a lot of sugar. Eliminate the sodas. Say no to the sodas. There are more natural alternatives to sodas. I still would try to get away from those as much as possible. Go for something more like an alternative, like kombucha. Okay, so number 2, if you're a female, makeup and body care products. These are things you are putting on your skin every day. Our skin is our largest organ, and yes, it can absorb the toxins and the chemicals from those products. My biggest one here is going to be perfume. Get rid of it. Just say no. I know there are some women who just like, oh my gosh, I gotta have perfume. But first off, just know this. For somebody who doesn't, I don't handle perfume well anymore. I absolutely hate it when I walk into somebody who has perfume. That's not to say that I'm gonna like avoid you, but it is going to be very difficult for me to be in the room with you because you may not even smell your perfume as strong as everybody else smells it around you. It is strong and it can, for me, I end up with more asthma symptoms. I notice that I definitely do not tolerate fragrances very well because they're so loaded with chemicals and they don't have to tell you what chemicals are in it. They just can say fragrance. And it can be a literal chemical bomb and they don't have to tell you. So if you want something that smells good, there are so many now essential oil based fragrances out there that are purely essential oils. It's amazing. So if you really like your perfume and you really want to go that route, essential oils is the best way to go. But let's talk about face care products, lotions, deodorants. So women's deodorant has a lot of them have antiperspirants, which we know, we've heard about all these things that are bad about antiperspirants. Your body is meant to sweat. I know you may not like it, you don't want to have the sweat, but that is your body's natural mechanism for detoxing itself. Don't stop that. So that's going to take a little bit of adjusting to, obviously, if you're not used to sweating, but you will get used to it and your body won't sweat like crazy once your body kind of gets used to that whole process. But then you obviously want something to keep yourself from smelling, and this is, common for everybody. And there are natural deodorants out there. Now, I understand that a lot of people don't like natural deodorants. They say they don't work. I would say that they just have to be a lot of times applied more frequently. And in the beginning, there is a detox process oftentimes where your body's kind of getting used to it. It's adjusting to it. And so it can take some time. So stick with it. Try some different ones. And for me, the best way I have found to use natural deodorant is I have found rotating products helps the best. So I use a little Seed Farm, but I also use Toups Co. And I rotate between the two. And I find that my body doesn't adjust to either one. And so they work pretty well. And then in addition to that, putting foundation on. I'm not somebody who wears a lot of makeup. Like I have eye makeup on right now, but I have no foundation on. I understand that some women want to wear foundation every day. I would highly recommend going with a more natural foundation. So I love Toups Co. foundations. I love them. I have a link only because I love them so much that I became an affiliate for them. However, there's so many other brands. The Detox Market is a brand that sells all sorts of natural body products. They have a huge list of things that they eliminate. Now, I will tell you that some of the products on the Detox Market I will not buy because I am more particular. But if you are new to this and you're going straight from Maybelline to something more natural, this is a great baby step because they eliminate a ton of harmful chemicals. Now, what they do allow is food-based dyes. So I don't pick lipsticks that have food-based dyes because if it's on my lips and I'm going to be potentially licking my lips or eating food, then I potentially am going to be ingesting those dyes. And I don't want to do that because I don't eat dyes. But again, this is to each person's kind of standard. Toups Co. does not use artificial dyes, and I absolutely love their lipsticks and their lip glosses, and they do not dry out my lips like some other crunchy lipsticks do. So be aware of that too. There are some crunchy lipstick brands that can dry out your lips. So just be aware. I love, love, love the Toups Co. line for lipstick, that foundation. But I knew a girl who, she was a young girl, she was 13 or so, and her mom, they already had the diet under control. They lived a fairly holistic life. And her daughter got diagnosed with Hashimoto's at the age of 13. And her mother was like, what in the world is going on with my child? Like, she's 13 years old. All of a sudden, she has Hashimoto's. Well, her mom kind of started racking her brain. And she was like, what is new in my daughter's life? And the new thing was her daughter had started wearing foundation because she's 13. She's starting to kind of get into makeup. And her mom was like, okay, you know what? I am worried about this because a lot of this makeup can be cancer causing, hormone disruptors, all these different things. I'm going to switch her makeup over to something more natural. And she did. And you know what happened? The Hashimoto's went away. I'm not saying this is going to happen for everybody. I'm not saying that's the cause of Hashimoto's for people, but I am saying that this is one particular experience where a mom did find out that the antibodies that were causing the Hashimoto's did respond to changing the makeup because her body was reacting badly to the chemicals that were in that makeup. And she switched to something natural and had a better response. So I have been using natural makeup for many, many years. I love it. And I think there's so many brands out there to choose from now. I mean, it's just really amazing. If you go on the Detox Market, you'll be like, I don't even know what to choose. So I maybe do a post later on makeup and things that I use, that I love. My third step, and this battles really close for the second step, so maybe consider the two of them interchangeable, is cleaning up your water. Your water, you're drinking your water every day. And we know when you're healthy, you want to drink more water. And if your water is full of chemicals, you definitely want to get rid of that. So here's the thing. If you're on city water, you got to do something about it. There is a high amount of chlorine in your water. And I will tell you right now, if you put filters on your water, let's just say you do a whole house filter, you will realize very quickly if somebody turns off that whole house filter, how much chlorine is in that water. If somebody turns off my whole house filter, I absolutely can smell my water. You may be used to your water so you don't smell it right now. But I guarantee you, if you get used to water that doesn't smell like chlorine and you smell it, you'll be like, whoa. Because I know nobody could take off my filter and then be like, oh, she'll never know. I will know. I've known. I highly recommend cleaning up your water. Now, this does not need to be a huge thousands and thousands of dollars overhaul. This can be very simple for you and baby step into this. So if you can't do anything more than like a Brita or what is the other one? The Pure filters or something like that. I think there's Clearly Pure is one of the brands. You know, I'm not going to do all this research into the different pitcher ones because I don't use them. And I know Berkey is no longer in business, but they have, like, if you go to Radiant Life, they have a gravity filter with good filters that you can use. It's very similar to a Berkey. And you're getting some of those toxins out, some of those, the chlorine, and you're not going to get fluoride out more than likely with those kind of systems because fluoride is very difficult to get out. But you're going to get a lot of that chlorine out, some of the pesticides out, some of the pharmaceutical drugs that are in there. You're going to get that out of your water while you're drinking. And it is a really good first step. Now, if you're ready to jump a little bit farther down the road, getting a whole house filter. So I have a whole house carbon filter on my house. I also have a whole house fluoride filter, which uses bone char from Pelican. And then I also have a softener because we need to soften our water here. So the thing that a carbon filter is not going to do, so it's going to clean the water. It's going to really do a very good job. So we're not washing our hair with chlorine. Our fluoride filter keeps that out of our water. However, when I drink the water, I still have something else when I drink the water. I'm going to have some redundancy. So again, this is all baby steps. If you can do this, then add on. I have redundancy because I want to make sure that the water I'm getting is extra clean. So a lot of people will go towards reverse osmosis, and I am very pro reverse osmosis, however, with a caveat. Reverse osmosis can create some acidic water. And when the water is acidic, it is going to balance itself out using the minerals in your body. So people have found out their teeth sometimes degrade and things like that as they drink a lot of reverse osmosis water. So if you get a reverse osmosis system, one, you want to make sure that it can tolerate the hardness of your water. And two, you want to also make sure you have a carbon filter as your pre-filter, which most systems come with that, but just make sure because you can jam up your RO system if you don't have the carbon filter. And then you want to make sure it has a remineralization. Something to remineralize it. Now, you can also add your own drops to remineralize your water, but you just got to remember to do that. So if it has a remineralizing step, that's a great system. I have a really great reverse osmosis system that I absolutely love. It's called like the Perfect Water Solution, and I will link it below. The reason why I love the system, okay, there's a lot of influencers out there in the holistic community that are going to recommend systems from Radiant Life. There's this one that everybody loves. Oh my goodness. And now I can't remember the name of it, but it has like reverse osmosis and it has, I think it's deionization. And then it has some sort of water restructuring stuff. I have literally dug and dug and dug. One of the systems sits there and says, it removes all the acids from the water that other systems don't remove. I did research on this because I was like, does RO not remove the acids from the water? And guess what? I didn't find anything about that. The only place I found that information was from the company that was selling that product. So I'm very hesitant to buy these very expensive systems. I mean, this was a $2,000 RO system with all these things. And when I looked into it, a simple RO system with remineralization. Mine also has a UV light, which is really great. And the one system that I have is around $600, which is way less than $2,000. And it's the top of the line. And what I love about it also is it has click in, click out cartridges. So instead of having these big tanks under there, you got to twist and then make sure the ring's all oiled up when you put it in so it doesn't leak. They're those punch in, punch out cartridges, and they go in so easy, come out easy. And then they make, because of that, you actually change your system more frequently. And I'm going to do a whole post on water. That's one of my most popular podcast episodes, is me talking about water filtration because it is a passion of mine. But anyway, my water filtration system, the RO system that I have, is below. And if you have hard water, this is a really good system to have, because that's one thing that carbon filtration cannot do, is remove minerals from the water. A softener is going to replace those minerals with salt. So although it's not replacing it with a ton of salt, you still are going to want to remove that sodium from the water. So an RO system just makes sure your water is squeaky clean. So if you're just getting in to water filtration, a simple pitcher will do you just fine. You can get shower heads that are chlorine blocking shower heads. If you're ready to go to the next step, my first step would be to get the under the counter RO system to clean your drinking water to be perfect. If you've done that, next I would add a whole house carbon filter. If you've done that, then add a whole house fluoride filter. So these are the kinds of steps that I would go with, but I would do the RO system first to clean up your drinking water, because that's the water that's going into your body. That's the water that's affecting you the most. So that's water filtration. And last but not least, cleaning products. Cleaning up your cleaning products. And I think this is one that people usually go to first. They're like, I'm going to live a holistic life. I'm going to clean up my cleaning products. And while I commend that completely, and if that's the simplest thing for you to do, go for it. However, it's not going to make as big of a difference as the things you put on your face every day, and the things you eat every day, and the things you drink. Okay? So while I commend it, it's not my first, second, or third step. However, it's something you can easily do to reduce the kind of fumes and the fragrances, especially if you're using a fragrance product. Avoid fragrance products. That's a huge, huge deal to increasing and improving the air quality in your home. No more scented candles. No more plugins. No more plugins, guys. This is huge, huge. Oh my goodness. Please take the plugins out of your house. I hate it when I walk in a home, especially if I'm walking in a house, because we've been looking at houses and things. You're walking in a house to buy and they have one of those Blade plugins in. I literally want to turn around and run. My clothes smell like it afterwards. Get rid of the plugins. The thing is if you don't like the way your house smells, figure out why it's smelling weird. If it's smelling bad, it could be that you have mold or mildew. Don't mask the smells. But if you want something that smells really good in your house and doesn't have a lingering scent and doesn't cause cancer and all sorts of other problems, a simple diffuser and some essential oils will do the trick. You can get a simple diffuser off of Amazon. They're not that expensive. Get the scent you want, but get rid of the artificially scented candles. I'm telling you, my asthma and my breathing symptoms got so much better when I reduced fragrances out of my life. I rarely have to use my inhaler or anything like that now that I don't use fragrance products. So like when you mop your floors, please don't use Fabuloso. Oh my goodness. I can smell that stuff. If somebody comes into my house, and I've had my house cleaned a couple times by different cleaners, mostly I try to clean it myself, but if they have a bucket that they've used, even if they're using my cleaner, if they have a bucket that they've used Fabuloso in, I can smell it in the bucket. I can smell it because it is such a lingering scent, because it has phthalates in it, in the fragrance. It's making that fragrance linger. Say no. Clean your floors with vinegar if you have to. Thieves. I love Thieves. Thieves is a great cleaner for cleaning my floors. Earthly products I like. Laundry detergent. Get rid of the fragrance. No fragrance. Get rid of the dryer sheets. Those are huge cancer-causing things. I can walk down my neighborhood in the morning or in the evening and smell when somebody's doing laundry because of their fragrance dryer sheets and stuff. It is so toxic. And these are simple things. Literally, you can now buy, what's amazing is that most of these companies that sell these laundry detergents, like let's just say you like Tide. I'm not judging. Let's just say you like Tide. You can go get fragrance-free Tide right now. You can go get fragrance-free almost any detergent that's out there. You can get fragrance-free. If that's your first step to not switch over to a completely natural laundry detergent, fine. But get the fragrance-free type because fragrances really do affect your health in your home. So, first, food. Second, makeup, beauty products. Third, water. And fourth, the fragrances and the cleaning products used in your house. So these are my 4 beginning steps to kind of living the holistic life, and you can do them relatively cheaply. Again, buying fragrance-free Tide is not more expensive than just buying regular Tide, as far as I know. If it is, it's not much more expensive. So you can do all of these things kind of on the cheap. Look, I'm not telling you to go out right now and get rid of your Teflon pans. You have Teflon pans, maybe look into it. But again, these are baby steps. Start with these 4 things and you will be on your journey living more holistically without having to stress out and about every single thing that you do, because I don't want you living in fear either. I hope this helped, and I'll see you next time.